Welcome to Truthzilla. I am Megan, sitting here with Scott and Ed
Hello.
at ManiFEST
What?
2021.
Let's hear it. Woo.
Yeah!
Woo. Yeah, baby. That's what's up right
This is the
here.
future right here, folks.
This is literally the future, you know? Like everything we talk about has kind of culminated to this moment right here, you guys. Like, this is literally, God, so much of what we do ever since the beginning, it's always been about, well, Ed, you were kind of you were really characterizing it really well earlier. What were you saying?
Well, I just think, and especially the last leg of guests we've had and like the people that have just really inspired me, I just think what we're doing is setting up the new world, right? Like
Our new world.
Like for so long we fought to get back what we lost, but at some point it kind of became obvious that it was more like we're going to create what's better, right? Right now we're at a critical point where they're going to start mandating this vaccine at all these businesses, right? And we need to not support those businesses, right? And I think when this stuff starts happening, what we do is, Kevin Jenkins said it the best. I heard him. If the airline won't let you ride the airlines without a vaccine, then make your own airline. If the stores won't let you shop and buy their groceries, then build your own organic grocery store, right? Like that's what we're about. That's what ManiFEST is about. That's what Freedom Cells is about. And I feel so empowered lately that what we're going to create is just so much better than what we were used to before. I was talking to Tressa earlier, and as hard as some of this year has been in like so many aspects of my life, like I've lost people, and my jobs. I realized, I don't know if I realized that I hated my job as much until this last year, and now I really know that I hate my job, right? But at the same time, like, it's been the greatest year ever because I've met the most amazing people. All those people that I lost, like I've met people like that have so much more character and are so much like more aligned with my values, like this year. So
People really showed their character and their colors, and people that we thought were friends through acquaintance relationships ended up being kind of, I guess, like silent haters or silent, killers of a vibe or whatever you want to say, but they weren't good for our persons. They weren't good for our lives. They weren't good ultimately for our families. And they really exposed themselves throughout this. And so while, all of us at this table we've all experienced loss, friends, family members even. We've all been heavily censored and banned. We've been threatened. We've had a lot of hate. And through it all, the truth keeps shining through as it will, because the truth will not be kept in the dark. The truth is a light to the world, and we are here to help all of us who are speakers of the truth to shine that light in the dark corners where people are still being blanketed by the propaganda of everything that we all know. Yeah, and I think this last year really woke. So, we were awake, but we were really awakened throughout this last year, and that has created sort of like this global humanity. Just us doing this podcast, we have listeners throughout, everywhere almost in the world, even Afghanistan and Hong Kong, and the messages that we put out, Saudi Arabia,
all over Africa.
It's really encouraging, and it helps us to know that we are not alone in fighting this. We are not alone in seeking our organic humanity and our ability to have our sovereignty not stripped from us or our children. And when we gather together like this and we put these truth seeds out there, it's like one of the speakers was saying the other night, maybe we don't have all of the answers. Maybe we can't answer every single question, but each one of us has a seed inside of us, and we can plant that into the hearts and minds of other people. We are not supposed to change people's minds. We're supposed to give them a light so they can see the truth for themselves.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, man. Yeah, Megan. I feel like we've said this before, if you guys have heard us before, I feel like this journey for us, Truthzilla, it started off with this whole concept of, okay, so this, Ed came to me, he was coming to me on his lunch breaks, right when COVID was kicking off, and be like, dude, what is going on with the world? The whole world's going crazy, right?
Yeah, totally.
And we were talking, and we were thinking about, doing, T-shirts, making T-shirts or something like that to get the message out. And Ed had the suggestion, let's just start a podcast. I'm like, no, dude, there's no way that would ever happen. There's no way that we could ever, there's too many podcasts out there, too late in the game, blah, blah, blah. All these self-doubt, self-negative self-talk, all that crazy stuff, right? And then we just decided to do it. And it got that crazy. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel maybe a lot of you guys feel, I've heard the story over and over to where it just got so crazy that it forced us into action. And so it forced us into action. And so I see people here that have been forced into action. I see so much of that. I see so many powerful, strong people here that I've gotten to know. But anyway, so it started off with like, okay, so how do we wake people up to what because we see it, but it's so obvious that other people don't see it. Like, how do they not see it? How do they not see it? Like,
but to be fair, most of us didn't see it for most of our lives.
Yeah, true. So that's where like kind of the hope was, in reaching people. So the idea for this show was kind of like Truthzilla. Let's start putting the truth in their face, front and center, and stuff that's like easily provable. So that's why like our first episodes were like Tower 7, 9/11. We were talking about MK Ultra. Things that are like in the public conscious, things that could be easily proven, but maybe people weren't quite aware of, and so that was the idea. And the further we got along, we hit this roadblock where we realized that like, the people that are awake are probably the ones that are going to be awake. And right now, our energy probably is better going to be spent like empowering the people that are already with us. You know what I mean? Like so reaching out and focusing on solutions rather than talking about the problem, over and over and over, which we do. We still do. We love doing that. Love it. But it's more about, solutions. Yeah. And that's when we start talking to, if you go back like the last 6 months, like a third of our episodes are just people we've met in freedom cells, like Zowe, Mackenzie, some other folks that aren't even here. You know what I mean? It's just so crazy, like the community that's come up around us just by, doing this has just been so amazing, you guys. It's been so amazing. So like you guys inspire me so much. Like I've learned so much from you guys. It's incredible.
Absolutely. And I see all the mommies and daddies here, and Ed and I were talking earlier about this, and just like last night listening to music. It's my little sidebar, but this is sort of, the reason why I sit up and do what I do, and the guys know I have terrible anxiety in front of a microphone, and even worse anxiety if we go live, and now we're sitting in front of live people. So this was a huge step outside of my comfort zone. But
give a hand for Megan.
Give a hand for Megan, dude. Yeah. You guys.
No.
We would be nowhere without Megan, dude.
Oh, no.
I gotta give so much credit.
100%.
You guys.
100%.
Like her rants are just epic, you guys. It's just crazy.
I can get a little fiery.
I can't do it.
But, I look out here and like the other night and I'm seeing, all of our children playing together. And we're all from different walks of life and different experiences in different places in the world. And all of our kids are out here playing. They're climbing trees after dark. They have dirty fingernails and dirty faces. And I had goosebumps and was brought to tears watching them with flashlights in these trees the other night. I see my kids out here running and playing. This is why I sit in front of this microphone. Maybe like we all know that the clean-hearted win in the end, that at the end we win, but we're laying the groundwork, right? Maybe we don't see the full win, the full victory in our lifetimes, but maybe our children will. And what we're doing while we're sitting here is to pave the way for them to pick up this torch, and that the truth won't be censored out, that it won't die down, that our children will not be taught fear, and that they'll feel comfortable and confident around loving individuals who are living their lives in the interest of sovereignty and accountability and all those kind of things. So as hard as it is for me to sit here and do this, my family came out here, my extended family came out here, my children are sitting in the audience, and I'm so thankful and blessed because this is why we do what we do. This is why I get uncomfortable and throw little crying temper tantrums occasionally right before we roll from nerves.
No.
He's so sweet to not admit it on the microphone. But we're so very grateful for all of the opportunity to meet so many of you and hear your stories and to just have this fellowship in this community. And most importantly, that we're teaching that to our kids, that these documentaries that we watch, that these CDC reports that we, tailor down to understandable format for them so they're not afraid of the new news clip. All of these kinds of things that we do, we're lighting... what should I say? We're planting embers for fires that we may never see, but our children will stoke those flames. So kids, we're so glad that you're here. All of the kids in the audience and all of you mommies and daddies, we're so grateful because all of us are the ones that are making the way. So.
Yeah. Sorry, kids. I mean, it's going to be on you. No, I'm just kidding.
But you said it earlier, though, but we do win this thing.
We do.
Yeah. We win this thing in the long run. We are all on the correct side of history, right?
Are.
Like, and to be, like, I let this thing get me down previously, but at this point, I'm like, what an honor it is.
Yeah.
What an honor it is to be fighting against tyranny. This is our opportunity in history, like our ancestors have had to do to fight against tyranny. This is our time to do it. It's weird. We were all selected for this. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. I've had a real feeling since we got on this journey that just everything in my life has led up to this moment.
Yes.
I was prepared along the entire way to be able to help fight for this movement, right?
Yeah, if you guys haven't tried it, dude, fighting tyranny is intoxicating. I love it. It's addicting. It's addicting. Have you guys ever bullhorned anything? That shit is amazing. Dude,
He was born for the horn.
born for the horn, baby.
Yeah,
if you guys
dude.
have not bullhorned anything, dude, that shit is amazing.
It's
Okay.
I was not born for the horn, but
Dude.
I went with Scott, and I was like, holy shit, that's how it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, fighting tyranny is intoxicating. I encourage
We
everybody.
need a
if
T-shirt
you
that
have
says
not.
"Fighting Tyranny,"
Yes.
and that's the new one.
Yes. Yes. But you know what? Just by us being here, like this is our way. You know, we talked to, like, Zoe had a great presentation yesterday talking about, like, we have to be nonviolent in this. We have to not play by their games and their rules. That's how they operate. All of these cartels, all these organizations, they run on violence, and and so by us being here, this peaceful resistance, you know, we're finding counter economies. We're building mutual exchange groups. We're building community. Like, this is the resistance right here, man. Like, this is the resistance. It's so amazing. We got tables up here. You know, please, like, support each other. You know, we can support each other. We can trade things. You know, like, this is the world we want to build. You know, And so-
Absolutely.
and this is just a little microcosm, an example, just to maybe learn and take back to your community. You know,
Yeah.
I like we've been saying. You know, okay, so great example, Craig. You want to come up and tell us about so he took the Freedom Cell idea and he's taking it to the next level. You want to tell us about what you got going on? Come on up here, Craig.
Hey, Craig.
Come on, Craig.
So you guys, just so you know, Craig has been with us from like episode 1 or 2, and
Yes.
we've stayed in contact. He's like family. So Craig,
Yes.
Craig. So this is Craig, everybody. Woo! Craig, tell
Craig.
us what you're doing in your community, okay?
Well, we had a Washington State group. It's a Telegram group, which I was hooked up from by these guys, and it was a Washington State group. We probably had about 600-700 people. Grew to like 800 people, but it was a little overwhelming. You know, everything's going on. Everyone's on a different level. Like, you know, we've all discovered through this walk here, and then so we broke it up in counties. So I live in Pierce County, Washington. And it was a you know, a much smaller group, probably around 60, 80. I think it's closing in on 100 people or so. And then we broke off more of like we got the active members of that group together and broke it off on even another group. But now that group's building, and we got together it was a couple weeks ago, and it recharged my batteries. I mean, we got people together. People are out there feeling alone, you know, feeling like they're looking for, you know, people like the message that these guys are giving. And up here in the Pacific Northwest, we all know, I mean, if you are all up from up here, you know how tough it is. When you look to our left and our right, we go to work, it's against us, you know. So it's great to get the batteries recharged and get people around us and just have conversations, sit around a campfire rather than our Telegram groups or our the Zoom calls or phone calls or whatever. It's getting in personal contact really means a lot. And I encourage that to everyone. And we need to recharge the batteries. We got a fight ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I think we all know that. But this is inspiring. I mean, it's I pretty much found these guys right around when the time they started, and I was like, hey, somebody who's thinking like me. I'm not seeing that. So these guys are, 3 crazy individuals. I was like, how's it going to be 3 people with a podcast? You know, are they going to be talking over each other or what? But
Sometimes.
yeah, well, you know,
I'm like-
each one of these guys have different personalities, and they bring something to the table. Sometimes, you know, Megan will take off on a passionate message, and then it was like episode 6 or something, and Ed took the reins and like was doing pushback against one of their guests, which was like cool. You know, that was like a big thing because I like to see that because you're not always going to have the people and agree with everybody's message, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Ed's not a shill? What? Hold on.
yeah, that's
Scott
the day I
for
knew
sure
he wasn't
might
a
be.
shill. Right.
Was it Alex from Skeptico?
Possibly.
Hey, you know, Alex is all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Until he
now
started
we're
talking shit on Tom Cowan.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yep. That was
Speaking of, you guys check next week's lineup. We might have an episode with Tom Cowan. I don't know, maybe, possibly. I don't know.
Theoretically, we interview him on Wednesday.
Potentially, yes.
Potentially, yes.
So,
But anyway, I can get going quite a bit for on this topic here, but it's
heck yeah.
on my show. It's a 3-man show.
Craig, you're the man.
No, you're wonderful.
Craig.
Thank you.
Give it up for
so
Craig, everybody.
much.
Woo.
Thanks for being here.
Craig. Love Craig. Dude.
I'm just curious to know though, like I know, so when this COVID went off, like I came from the medical freedom side of things, and I just instantly knew this was bullshit. I'm like, a show of hands, did you guys think did you guys think this was real? Did you guys think this was total garbage?
Total garbage. Hands up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hands up. All right. All right.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of when we created, because I was more the medical freedom guy. Scott was more like the conspiracy encyclopedia. So we kind of came together. But it's funny now. It's like all my medical freedom podcasts are saying the same thing as all my conspiracy podcasts. Yeah. They're one and the same now, right? Because it's all it's not a conspiracy theory. It's conspiracy analysis at this point, right? Like
right.
it's just like we're just living through it. But
right.
And I think that it's not, they want to politicize this thing so much, dude. It's so crazy because they want to put everybody in a box.
They have to divide us.
They have to. I mean, it doesn't, like, the world to them doesn't make sense. But, like, through Freedom Cells, through, like, Squatch Fest, this event, I see this crazy confluence of people where it's like, you have people who are, like, super, like, metaphysical, and like, oh, yeah, man. Then you got, like, super, like, 3D printed shotguns, you know what I mean? Like, that type of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, it's like this crazy confluence of people that you think, like in their paradigm where it's like they're complete opposites, but it's no. We all are aligned with like the truth, man. I feel it.
Yeah.
And it's such a powerful, awesome thing. And I love getting into conversations with people like at work, people I talk about it sometimes on the show where it's like, like I say a certain something or another about like maybe the vaccine or something like that, and they're like, "Oh, are you just a Trump supporter?" Like, no, dude, nope, not even there, dude. Like they're like they, and then it doesn't.
We're like not even on that level of thinking
it's
so
like,
long ago.
I'm against all of it, dude.
Yep.
All of it.
Yep.
You take all of it and just throw it away, man. Nope,
Yeah.
nope. And so, but it doesn't make sense to them, and that's so I don't know. It's interesting, but I just, but it's hard sometimes. Standing in your truth, it can be really hard. It can be really demoralizing, especially if you don't have community. Like, we're lucky. We're really the lucky ones here that we have community and we have people that we can turn to and rely on and get feedback from and check in with. And when we have a really awful interaction at a store or something, we can vent to each other.
Get in our group chat and start like really like just quietly demoralizing someone's entire existence.
Or we can get on the microphone. Yeah, some of these people that mess with us, it's like
it really comes from such a place of hate from them.
They don't know we have a platform though. So sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, bring it, boy. You don't know. I actually have a platform. So
yeah.
How many store incidences have we gone through together?
I've been thrown out a few times.
Yeah,
we've had some rough exchanges.
Yep. All right. How about this? Who traveled the farthest to be here? Curious.
Well, I don't know if you can just like ask the whole crowd. Like,
what is it? 2.5 hours? What do you got? 6 hours. Can anybody beat 6?
Oh,
Anybody
yeah.
beat 6? All right, Kathryn, get up here, dude. Woo!
Hey, Kathryn.
All right. So I met Paul and Kathryn up at Squatch Fest, right? And it was funny because some of you guys heard the story where I was like freaking out, running around collecting firewood, right? Craig was helping me out collecting firewood.
You were the
right?
firewood czar.
I got nicknamed
He
the firewood
was the firewood czar.
The firewood
he
czar.
will forever be.
And yeah. And it was frustrating, but anyway, it's okay. So in preparation for this event, I made sure we had lots of firewood. So there you go. But anyway,
We had to have the talk
It was the
with him
first thing
ahead
I
of
asked you
time.
about.
Yeah.
then I had Kathryn ran up to me and she's like, "I recognize your voice. Are you on Truthzilla?" And I was like, "What? That's the weirdest thing ever." So there you go. So Kathryn, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kathryn.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, I didn't ever see your videos because I always just do your podcast, so I didn't know what any of you guys look like.
There you
Oh,
go.
wow.
Just only the audio, yeah.
So that's a trip. That tripped me out. But
Yeah.
then we got to hang out, and it's just so cool, dude. Like Paul, Kathryn, dude, they're like the coolest people ever.
Thank you.
They're getting married. They're bailing. You guys are bailing out, right? You're bailing out of.
We're bailing. We're going to
Pacific
Texas.
Northwest. They're going to Texas. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we have a lot of
Not
things
a bad
pulling
move.
us further east anyway. We weren't planning on being out in Washington for a super long time, so
Yeah.
it's a good catalyst to get us closer to our families.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you made it because I heard you had some bad news before this.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about that?
Sure,
A little bit?
yeah.
Okay.
I work for the government. Yeah, I work for the best part of the government, the Park Service.
Okay.
So I work in the Olympic National Park. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I actually get to drive around a lot for work. I spend like 6 hours on average a day in the truck. So I get to listen to a lot of you guys. I've consumed so many of your podcasts driving around the peninsula. But on Thursday, there was a mandate for all federal employees to get the vaccine. So, yeah, I had a very dark day on Thursday, was not feeling very good about it. It's not a good situation. But I work seasonally, so my season ends mid-September, and I'm hoping I can just kind of like push back enough to get through the next 6 weeks, and then that'll be it, you know. Mm-hmm. But it's super scary because, I mean, obviously federal employees are a huge percentage of our population, and like you talk all the time about we lost all this ground when we masked our kids, right? That's one that you say that all the time, and like this, I don't have kids, so this is my battle.
This is the next huge cut. Yeah,
it affects so many people, and I like this feels like the first big domino to fall.
I'm just curious, are you plugged in up there at all to like a medical freedom, like a chat where you can reach out to attorneys in your area?
No, not really. We do have a freedom cell. It's really small. There's like 6 or 8 people in it, I think. It's pretty tiny. And
you guys are in Washington.
Yeah, but we're on the peninsula, so we're really remote. And I've been looking into some resources. I'm trying to figure out what's next. But it's hard. It's hard to know. Like, I don't know where to start exactly. And so.
I'm going to give my own opinion on this, and you might disagree with me, but I think that the legal side of thing is not going to really help us at this point. No. It's just, I mean, it's if you listen to Legal Man on the Quash at all, like really,
it'll only stay the devil for so long.
I mean, the law, they do what they want, right? Yeah. Like they just do what they want, right? Like the idea, I know. I would love for the Constitution to stand for what it does and to be able to fall back on this document and to be able to defend it, but I don't think that they really give a shit about that.
No, I think that's the battle. Honest. It's to break down the Constitution. Yeah. That's the whole deal. I mean, labeling everybody who disagrees with the main thing as a right-wing extremist because they believe in the Constitution is the whole
we're all Trumpers. Deal. We're immediately Trumpers if we don't fall into the narrative.
Domestic terrorists.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that's so like exquisitely like horrible about this is how they just take like all of this diverseness of humanity and how intelligent each one of us is and the depth that each one of us has and our ability to process information and to share that with others, and they just put us in these tiny boxes like that's all we have, and
all the labels
and the media, that's how they create that divide. If they box us, they can divide us, and that's part of what we do here, and you know well that it's all we're trying to break down those walls of division and show that we're all about your personal freedom, your personal sovereignty. And the Constitution didn't give that to us. God gave that to us. We are sovereign. We are unique and special. We belong to ourselves. And that is the fight. It doesn't matter who you voted for, whether or not you ever want to vote again, if you're still a Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. None of that matters. What matters right now is sovereignty. That is what we're fighting for. And we can blanket that under any term. And this covers everything from what they're doing to the air to poisonous, from what they're trying to stick into our kids and try to force you to stick into you. All of these little things where we can't collect our rainwater. It was little bits at a time, and then they pulled the rug really fast, and all of the people that were already sort of open or aware of what was going on, the light came on for all of us. Yes. And this is why now we know we are fighting a quiet war. Yeah. And that's what this is. They're not using weapons. They're using psychology. Yeah. Just like with this is why we go back to MK Ultra a lot, and we talk about the information they were able to get about the way that the human mind works, the way that we can be controlled, the way that we're influenced, and the public school system is the very beginning of that. So sorry to interrupt you.
No,
but
not at all. I mean, my job is really interesting because I'm surrounded by people who are vaccinated. There's one other person that I know that I talk to that I have solace in, and I get to like vent with him, but everybody else has the shot. And it's very 1984. I'm like, I can't even talk about it. Like it sort of kind of dipped where everything was a little calm for a while. And I feel like I was starting to feel my power a little bit where I was like, I can talk about this stuff. Like I can have these conversations a little at work with people. But then once this mandate came through this week, I was like, whoops. Like I should have been keeping my mouth shut this whole time. Like I'm afraid now for maybe any seeds that I planted with people. And so that is very interesting because it's the psychology of it. I'm like, where am I? I'm not even safe to have an opinion, especially because to
have open dialogue with your peers, to have fellowship with your peers, all of it.
And colleagues.
Yeah,
it's sad.
Absolutely.
And I know you guys deal with that at work too. Like.
And I feel for you because that is a terrible position to be put in, but I expect that we're probably all going to be put in that
all of
position.
us, yeah.
And
Yep. No, we've talked about that since the
I
beginning.
will certainly, I mean, I think everyone here knows that none of us will be injecting that in us to keep our jobs, right?
No.
We just won't do that. That is the line in the sand, and it's going to get hard, but it's going to get better at the same time.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to create jobs in our new world, right? Like that's
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you,
Nice talking to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Let's hear it for Kathryn. That's so cool. Woohoo! Love it.
Wait, you're giving out those buttons, dude?
Yes, I'm giving out my buttons. My buttons.
Do I get a button?
No, you don't get any buttons at all.
We didn't want
My
the buttons, Ed, remember? So now Scott's going to not give us a button.
Keep them over here. There's my buttons. Okay, there you
The
go.
buttons are.
We'll have to
Yeah,
tell
the
the
buttons
button
are.
story on a
Yep.
different
Yeah, well,
episode.
yeah, don't put out some premium bonus episode. Anyway, whatever. All right. So another thing I want to talk about too is like kind of what I was saying with our project here, where we were just like, oh no, it's too late. No, I can't really do it. You know what I mean? But I think, and Megan always talks about, we each have our own individual gifts, we each have our own individual talents, and we each have our own individual ways of disseminating information. You know, whether you start a freedom cell or you do whatever it is, and you guys are all doing it. You're making your crafts. You're making music. You know, there's so many different ways you guys are doing it. There's a couple people I really want to highlight that are doing it. And the first one I want to bring up is Pat. Pat, you want to come up here, buddy? And now he kind of took the reins too, and he started his own podcast. Okay, and I want everybody out there checking this out. Okay, Pat, come on up here, buddy. So he has a podcast called Winston Smith's Diary. Do you guys know who Winston Smith is? You guys know Winston Smith, right? Tell us a little bit, Pat.
Winston Smith is the protagonist in 1984, so I thought a lot of people who were kind of keyed in would recognize that and be like, oh, that's interesting. Let me check this podcast out. So, yeah, it's kind of just the aspect of the book opens with him writing in his diary, like, down with Big Brother. So it's just coming from that perspective and then just doing whatever from there. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So he's just starting it up. But I want everybody to go check it out because it's really great. It's really great. And looking at what's going on today and through the lens of like the narrative of 1984. And like if you haven't read 1984 in a while, you know, it's a good refresher, you know, because it's crazy, man. Like it's so, you know, it's just exactly what we're experiencing right now. You know?
yeah, it was written like, as a warning, and now it's just a playbook.
Yeah.
It's just so overt, you know.
It
Yep.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what do you got going on in your world as far as that goes?
Actually, I just did an interview with, I don't know if you guys heard of Victoria Palmer. She does the Seattle Truth Network.
Okay, cool.
So I got to meet her doing a couple events. She did like an anti-mask event in front of the Gates Foundation in Seattle.
Nice.
Just, you know, we had signs out there saying, you know, honk if you question the mask mandate. And this is in the dead of winter when it's like total, really high mask insanity. And we got like 4 to 5 positive interactions. You know, there's little hecklers and little punks, but more people were encouraged by people being out there and being not afraid to say something. You know, because when they see people on the street, it gives them that little consent to say, okay, well, I'm thinking these things, and they're saying it's all right to you know, acknowledge that.
Well, we say all the time, I say all the time that, you know, one of the big things just about human nature is we want to be accepted. You know, I mean, that's just innate. The first thing is we need to bond with our parents. We want to be accepted as a species. And so it's so hard when there's such blatant, ugly division and you're trying to stand up for something true to have those hecklers and those haters. I mean, like I said, we've had the threats and really ugly things come at us. That's really hard. And I've said many times, if it was just me, I would probably have a real loud mouth at home. And I wouldn't probably sit in front of a microphone. It's the power of knowing that somebody else out there also, like, you know, Scott's done it many times. He hasn't had a mask on in a store, and somebody sees that, and they say, thank you for doing that, and they feel empowered to take their mask off. Each one teach one, and we lead by example. We show people they're not alone, that they don't need to be afraid. Look, I'm doing it. Look, there's community. Get plugged into the Freedom Cell. Get plugged into ours. We have community. We all made friends at different farms, and we go out and hang out as like these big collectives, and it's really beautiful. But that power of knowing you're not alone and that you're not standing there alone, and it encourages and empowers other people to be brave.
Thanks for being brave.
Yeah.
Pat.
Thank you. All right.
The other side.
There you go, dude. Fuck yeah. Thanks, Pat. So everybody go check out Winston Smith's Diary on all your favorite podcast players and this and that. It's well produced, too. It's really cool.
Thank you, Pat.
I recommend it. Thank you, Pat.
The other
Such a
thing
great
about
example.
that, though, too, is I'm just thinking, like, all these people are, like, honking for this because it's the right thing. But how many people know people who have gotten this vaccine just because they wanted to travel? right?
Yep.
Like, how many times have I heard that? I've heard that so many times. Like, people, they don't even trust it. They don't want it, but they're just complying to go along, and we're working uphill at this point, right?
Yeah.
So we need to show them that we have community and it's better over here.
Well, a lot of it is the dissonance that people don't believe that this shot is dangerous, or they think, whatever's happening to other people isn't going to happen to me, with not fully understanding the ramifications of the ingredients in this particular shot, and what it can do to, the crossing the blood-brain barrier, what it's doing, to your internal tissues with these spike proteins, the fact that we know for sure there's a patented ingredient in it that actually calcifies your pineal gland. Your pineal gland, it's well known, that is your ability to have a conscience. That is, what I always refer to as my ability to communicate with Jesus. It's because I have discernment, because I have this open pineal gland that I could do that. And we all know that as much as, empathic people, we project our traits onto other people. And so I think that's a huge thing out there, is people watching CNN, they can't imagine. They can't imagine there's these big, dark people, these 13 families, or these, few, the UN, that the people that make up the UN, or the guy that swapping from Monsanto to his FDA regulation.
Oh, yeah.
They can't fathom that there's something that evil, that people would really wish us ill, and that's because we're projecting who we are, and we're projecting our ability to connect to God onto them. That is not who they are. And my beliefs are, in the Word of God, and so I feel that what we need to understand is there is a whole psychopathy of people walking this earth that don't have the ability to have discernment. They don't have the ability to relate to other people. And the only thing that they do feel is enriched and fulfilled by the suffering and the subjugation of other human beings. They want to see how far they can get in life by experimenting on all the rest of us, and COVID is not the first example of that, though COVID brought it up to many of our consciousness that it's been going on for many, many decades. We go back now and we look at the research. We go back now and we look at the government's own documents, their own patents, again and again and again, and how they just normalize it through the media. And I say all the time in my own household, we have no cable, no access like that, but as much as we can, we need to be shutting those systems off, even those of us that are awake, because regardless, that negative, toxic information, that we need to go through it so that we know how to prepare ourselves. We need to not dwell there. And we need to remember that what we're fighting against is not people like, you and me, and we need to realize that what we're fighting against is literally abject evil. That we're fighting against people that were empty vessels, and they have been indwelt by dark demonic spirits and entities. And this is carrying out a very, very long prophecy. And literally in our lifetimes, we're watching it play out through these governmental organizations, this hierarchy of, structures. And if you start to dig a little bit deep, you will find the truth, and they will cut our microphones. Isn't that true, guys?
They can't wait, dude. They've been doing a great job of it.
They sure
But
have.
you know what? It's kind of, you just reminded me, it's kind of like George W. Bush said. They hate our freedom, right?
They do.
Oh my gosh,
they do.
right?
They hate our ability to think for ourselves.
So
yeah.
they're like the new Al Qaeda, man. They're like the new Al Qaeda. They hate our freedom, right? Oh my God, there you go. So, holy smoke. So again, all right. So other people that are putting it out there in the ways that they can and just showing up for their gifts. I want to bring Rhymewave. Get up here, dude. Rhymewave. Okay, so he was. Woo! We had a whole set of music last night.
So fantastic.
You guys, and we were rocking late into the night, and as it turns out, by the time our friend Rhymewave got on the stage, many people had chosen to go to beds, which, by the way, all your social credit scores are now in the toilet that we're doing.
100% in the toilet now.
Thank you, Pat, for the joke. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Look who you've got still.
But so anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do an encore performance. After tonight's speakers, he's going to do a set tonight, so you guys will get a chance to see it, because it's super epic, okay?
Yeah,
and then we're going to do DJing throughout the night. So, man. What's going on, man? Tell us. You still got
not much.
He has had this praying mantis on his hat all
just hanging
day,
out.
Hours and hours,
all day, since about noon.
Since about noon,
just hanging out on the hat.
So cool. You feel blessed.
I don't really know how to feel. I guess I take it as a compliment. It can't be a bad sign.
Right.
A little bit flattered, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, this is an honor to be up here with you guys. I found your podcast sometime in 2020. I think I heard you guys guesting on another podcast, and then I was like, oh, these guys are in Oregon, and I actually live like 10 minutes away from here. I'm in Malala. I was in Portland, and then relocated out here. I'm working on a farm now. loving it. And yeah, I make music. If you guys saw it last night, thanks for coming out and supporting.
Dude,
And
so good.
if you
So
didn't
good.
see it, or if you weren't here last night, I'll be doing a little encore set tonight, and
Good.
honored to throw that down. But yeah, I do like a lot of people call it conscious hip hop. I don't really like that term because I think, you know, everyone's conscious in their own way. It's kind of like, feels weird to be like, I'm conscious. So I call it underground hip hop or like psychedelic hip hop. These guys kind of called it truth hip hop, which I really like. Like
Okay,
I never thought like, okay, yeah, I'm spitting the truth. But yeah, that's all
what
I
it
try to
is.
do. I just try to, you
Truth
know,
hop.
just try to be real and put my own truth into it. And I've been making music for probably like most of my life at this point. I mean, I was playing music as a kid. I started rapping when I was like 14 and making beats, and just kind of really started taking it seriously over the last like 3-4 years, really trying to get out and play shows and spread the word. And it's incredible to just be able to share the craft for people. And my whole goal with my music is to just inspire people and to just show people their true power and to raise the vibes, and you know, to kind of dissect some of the more heavy things with a lighthearted tone. So I try to inject humor and you know, lots of fun stuff so that you leave the show like, oh, I had a fun time, but at the same time, like, put some heavy shit in there that really makes you think. And yeah, I think music and hip hop in general is just a great way to communicate a message. You can pack a lot of punch into a song. You can really convey a lot of information in a short period of time, and people remember songs. Like, there's something about it. Like, we still remember songs that we sang in school or in church, or some theme song from
Commercials.
a kid, you know, that we haven't heard in 10 years,
Yep.
and you still remember
Ice
every
Ice
single
Baby.
word. So there's something magical and mysterious about how music works. And I've just always felt like it was my calling, and it's cool to finally be able to do something with it after all these years. And yeah, just been trying to have discipline and dedication and just kind of keep chipping away, because it's like, it's a long road, you know, getting to the point where you're actually out there playing shows for people. And yeah, this is just a blessing to be here with you guys and like-minded community of individuals, and super stoked that I met you up at Squatch Fest,
Yep,
and
yep,
that
yep.
we could make this happen.
Hell
And
yeah.
thank you all for having me up
Yeah,
here.
dude, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so
And
much for
that's
being
really
here, man.
important
Abs-
because we've completely lost punk rock. I was a
Yeah.
punk rocker.
We did lose
Yep.
punk
Punk rock
rock.
has been lost. Sorry.
Metal, punk rock, it's all gone. So we're reclaiming hip hop, right? There you go.
yep.
How's
There
that
you
go? F
There
you, do what they tell you. Is that the new
Yeah,
one?
yeah. Do
Right?
what they tell ya.
They've switched it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
If you please drop what you're doing and do what they tell you.
That's it.
All right, brother. Hell yeah. There you go. There you go, man. Thank you
so much.
And so, you
Thank
guys, Rhymewave Hip Hop on Instagram. Where else can they find you? Where else can they find you?
Just search for Rhymewave, RHYMEWAVE, wherever you listen to your music.
Yeah.
So you'll find me on Spotify, iTunes, Bandcamp, SoundCloud.
There you go.
All those things. I don't actually have physical CDs. I'm just trying to give the music
All
away
right.
for free at this point. You can donate if you want, but the most important thing is just to listen, spread it around, just take it in, and hopefully it brings you some good vibes.
There you go. So, thank you, bro, dude. Hell
Thank
yeah.
you.
So, Truthzilla Mind Militia, call to action. All of you out there listening, go make sure you follow him, and also go listen to his music, dude. It's so legit. So legit. Like, this is how we're going to win this thing, you know? Absolutely. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple more folks that have been a huge part of our journey that are here that I just want to bring up real quick. So, Zoe, you want to come up here real quick?
Zoe.
Because she's living it. She's living the deal. She gave a big presentation yesterday about opting out of the system, and last we spoke to her on the show. So all of you listening out there, you remember she was our medical insider who was giving us all the information about the fuckery going on with all the stuff in the medical business, and see, she has since opted out. Right? You want to give us a little bit of an update?
Oh God.
Just a little bit.
Short version.
Yeah, just short version.
Quit working full time at the hospital. Way back in April, I've been living nearly off grid. Provide about 50% of my power needs myself. Severely reduced my water intake. I don't watch TV anymore at all. I've not watched Netflix in months. I was planning to quit that anyway, so I quit. Let's see what else. I did buy a tiny house. So I'm living in a tiny house, if I didn't mention that part. Also growing food, working on a farm, loving it. Taking care of livestock, learning how to do that. I've always taken care of animals like as a passion, but now I can do it as a day job, kind of. So that's really great. Getting ready to open my own business. Yeah. So.
Zoe, I have a question for you. If you feel like it would be comfortable for you to do in just like a couple minutes time, for anybody that hasn't heard the episode with Zoe, are you able to give a kind of a brief overview prior to you leaving the hospital, like what was going on, just so they can kind of have some perspective of what you were dealing with?
Yeah. And I'll have to remember the suicide part, which I keep forgetting because
I'll remind you.
So yeah, initially I noticed that, we were getting word that some virus is going to come through. I knew, just like Ed keeps saying, like I knew it was BS from day one. And I just figured that it would be fear mongering and it would just be a matter of time until it blew over, and it didn't blow over. So when the shutdown happened, we had one actual patient that was an inpatient that was sick that had symptoms with COVID in 5 hospitals in the 3rd biggest city in the country. There were other hospitals in that city. We weren't the only hospital system, and we weren't the biggest hospital system, but even they only had like a handful of patients. So there was clearly no need for a shutdown at that point. I could tell it was preemptive. And then we were told we couldn't keep people in the ICU, so we sent people home that should have been in the ICU and should have been kept in the hospital a little bit longer before they went home. We stopped using the OR. We started running out of money. They started purposely closing down units of the hospital and laying people off and furloughing people because the patients never showed up. It was a ghost town. Then when masking and distancing and everything started happening, then the numbers started going up. Then we started getting patients that were dying on ventilators and having, some really severe symptoms. And they were all, the older set, the people that would have probably passed anyway if it were any other thing, even like a urinary tract infection, not some unknown crazy virus like they were saying. The suicides went way up at that point, like exponentially way up at that point. I need therapy from what I read during that time. There's so many other people who are going to need therapy from what they had to experience from their own loved ones right in front of them. It was horrifying. Then they furloughed me also, and our workload actually went up because then the numbers were really, really low for a really long time. It took until maybe like August of 2020 for our numbers to actually go up, and that was when the masking and distancing was like everywhere and everyone was having to work all day with this stuff on finally. That's when the numbers started to go up. And then we got inundated, and we weren't allowed to work overtime, so we just had to work harder, longer, with less quality, exactly what you want of your health care during a pandemic. We were told we couldn't take vacation anymore. During the furlough time, we were told we had to use all our vacation before that and use all our sick time before they furloughed us. So I was even coerced into signing a form saying that if I didn't voluntarily agree to be furloughed, then like 9 other people were going to be fired. Yeah. And then in December, toward the end of December, the adverse effects from the vaccine started to come in. They started to do healthcare workers first in December. And it was toward the end of that month that I started to see the cases come through from that time. That's how far behind we were. Like I'm looking, a month in the past. And the adverse effects that I saw were everything from death, strokes, seizures, falling down uncontrollably, passing out uncontrollably. People would say they're not the same. Their spouse was not the same. The patient would say they're not the same, and the spouse would confirm that they weren't the same. Blood clots like I've never seen. I'm talking like amputation level blood clots, like multiple, like not even possible in a prior medical setting kind of blood clotting. Like they were bringing specialists in and going, I don't even know what to do. I mean, I can try to pull the clot out with our special tool, but I can't guarantee anything. It was that kind of level thing. There was one patient who had 6 different levels of their vertebrae go gangrenous within 3 days of the shot. And the medical establishment would literally write in the documentation this was not from the shot and then recommend that the patient get the next one.
Yep. Yep.
Terrifying. It's terrifying stuff, guys. But anyway, so you've since opted out, and now you're doing your thing. So that's so cool. So.
Well, we're
Awesome.
so grateful to you for
thank
standing
you.
up
Yeah.
and having the courage to speak prior with us and up here today, Zoe. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Zoe.
much.
And way to set the example and
Such a good.
cut away from the system.
That's
man.
so awesome, guys.
Thanks,
That's what
Zoe.
we all need to be doing more and more.
All right. I feel like let's wind this down because our speakers are here. I see them.
Yeah,
You guys.
totally.
I
That's-
see
that's
him
good.
out
We
here
got
walking
Tim.
around. I'm
We
so
got
super
Bob.
excited.
We got Dr. Thomas in the house, you
Dr.
guys. Hello,
Thomas.
everybody. Okay, so you guys, thank you for sitting in with us. Yeah.
All right. Everybody, thank you so very much for just doing what you had to do and that you wanted to do and what you could do to be here today, for bringing your families, for bringing your kids, and for participating in this event today, and for what you're doing outside of today in your own lives and your families and your communities. We're so grateful for your support. Thank you so much for coming to support ManiFEST 2021. We hope you guys have an amazing night. We have some incredible speakers coming up to talk. I'm so excited to go sit with my family and listen to this. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your festival. We hope that you all are blessed. And until next time.
Well, this is ManiFEST 2021. How about ManiFEST 2022?
Yeah.
I mean, I
The
think
first
I
annual,
think this
right?
is
We're the first
annual.
annual.
Yes,
I
yes,
think
yes.
we
Okay,
all
I
want-
should have
we gotta
said that.
Keep this going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
What do you guys
sure.
think of the sign? That's pretty rad, right?
Oh, Megan got me this Beavis one, and I had
I
to
didn't
put
even
it up
see
there.
you
It's so
put that
great.
up.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's
okay.
so
Well,
great.
can you do the laugh real
yeah,
quick
can
so
you-
they know why?
Are you threatening me?
So there you have it. Everybody, until next time, I am Megan, sitting here with my dear friends Scott and Ed, and we wish all of you intellectual prosperity.
Say it with me.
Good night.
Pew, 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 pew.